The locker room was silent, except for the faint dripping of a leaky faucet. A girl sat in the farthest corner, clutching her knees to her chest. Her hands trembled as her eyes darted toward the door, afraid someone else might come in. That girl was Emma Hayes, 17 years old, soft-spoken, and invisible to most of her classmates. She had never been the kind to cause trouble. She walked with her head down, avoided eye contact, and spoke so quietly that people often had to lean in to hear her. For Emma, school was a place to endure, not enjoy. But that day, something happened that would change everything. It started after gym class, when the other girls had already left. Emma stayed behind, changing slowly, waiting until the locker room emptied so she could avoid the whispers, the stares, the occasional cruel comment. She had just pulled her sweater over her head when the door creaked open again. 3 girls walked in, Melissa, Jenna, and Carly, the school's reigning mean girl trio. They were laughing about something, but the laughter quickly faded into smirks as they spotted Emma. Melissa's voice cut through the air like a blade, "Look who's hiding again." Emma's heart sank. She knew their tone. She knew this wouldn't end well. They began circling her like predators, making comments about her clothes, her quietness, how creepy it was that she kept to herself. But then Melissa said something different. "You think you can just ignore us like you're better than us? Let's see if you're still so quiet after this." Before Emma could react, Jenna grabbed her wrists while Carly pulled something shiny from her bag, a small, sharp piece of metal from a broken mirror. Emma's eyes widened. "Stop, please," she whispered, but her voice was drowned out by their mocking laughter. In a flash, Carly dragged the sharp edge across Emma's left cheek, not deep, but enough to leave a raw, stinging line that burned instantly. Emma gasped, shock freezing her in place as Melissa leaned close and whispered, "Now everyone will see you for what you are." They tossed the metal shard to the floor and walked out as if nothing happened, leaving Emma trembling in the empty room, her reflection in the mirror now marred by an angry red mark. The next day, the hallway felt like a spotlight. Students whispered, stared, and some even laughed as they saw her face. Emma wore her hair over the cut, but it didn't help. Teachers asked what happened, but she just muttered, "I fell," not wanting to draw attention. She didn't tell her parents either. She thought they wouldn't understand. For days, she avoided everyone, retreating further into her shell. But inside, something began to shift. The humiliation, the fear, it turned into something else. Quietly, steadily, it became determination. Emma had always been shy, but she wasn't weak. She remembered something her late grandmother used to say. "They can take your peace if you let them, but they can never take your power unless you give it away." That night, Emma sat at her desk, searching online for self-defense classes. She found a local martial arts studio and signed up. The first few weeks were grueling, her body ached, her mind doubted itself. But she kept going. Every punch, every block, every stance made her feel stronger. She didn't just learn how to fight, she learned discipline, awareness, and, most importantly, self-respect. Months passed. The scar on Emma's cheek faded, but she no longer cared about hiding it. She wore it like a silent badge of survival. She started carrying herself differently, back straight, head up, eyes steady. People noticed. Even Melissa and her friends noticed, though they didn't dare say much. Until one Friday after school. Emma was heading to her locker when she heard shouting down the hallway. She turned the corner to see Melissa shoving a freshman boy against the wall, demanding his phone. Jenna and Carly stood nearby, laughing. Something inside Emma snapped, not with rage, but with clarity. She walked toward them. "Let him go," she said firmly. Melissa turned, smirking. "Oh, look who's found her voice. What are you gonna do? Cry on us?" The hallway had started to fill with students, sensing a confrontation. Emma stepped closer, her voice calm but sharp. "Last time, you hurt me because I didn't fight back. That's not who I am anymore." Melissa scoffed and moved toward her, hand raised as if to push her. But Emma moved faster, sidestepping, grabbing Melissa's wrist, and with one swift motion, guiding her to the floor with a judo throw that left the crowd gasping. Carly rushed forward, but Emma blocked her strike and used her momentum to send her stumbling back. Jenna froze, unsure what to do. Emma didn't throw a single punch beyond what was necessary to protect herself. She didn't gloat, didn't yell. She simply helped the freshman boy up, handed him his phone, and walked away as the crowd erupted in whispers. By Monday, the entire school knew what happened. Some called it epic revenge. Others called it justice. But Emma didn't care about the labels. She cared that Melissa and her friends never bothered her, or anyone else, again. Later that week, Emma stood in front of the mirror. The faint scar was still there, but it no longer felt like a reminder of her pain, it was a reminder of her strength. She realized she didn't get revenge to hurt them back. She stood up for herself to show that no one had the right to break her. And in doing so, she inspired others who had been silent victims to speak, to stand, and to find their own strength. Her story spread far beyond the school, shared online, told in whispers and posts. But the truest part of it wasn't the fight in the hallway or the crowd's shock. The real story was what happened inside Emma, a shy girl who had been scarred in the locker room, finding the courage to heal, to grow, and to rise above.